Good morning and welcome to today's session of Moments with Clara. Today we're going to talk about doing a grief checkup. That's probably something you've not heard very often, if at all. I know several years ago, I wondered where I was in my grief walk. I was a bit discouraged and thought, I'm just not making any progress. My heart is as heavy as it is today as it was like 5 years ago. Something must be wrong. So I did a little investigating into myself and I did what I've now named a grief checkup. And it was a simple thing to do. And I have to tell you that it gave me a great deal of encouragement. And I hope if you do this, that it will encourage you too. I make a habit of writing journal entries, not daily, but most of the time weekly. And I make little entries about the weather, about my flowers, about how I'm feeling, things like that. Nothing real heavy, or at least that's what I thought. And so, as I was feeling like I need to do this grief checkup because I'm a bit discouraged, I went back in my journal entries to notice, what was I writing? What was the weather like? What did I notice? What was happening in my life? And I noticed that in the very beginning months of my grief journey, the weather always seemed to be cloudy and dark and gray and rainy, things like that. But I noticed in my more recent grief, my journal entries, that things like, well, the sun was shining today, or wow, I saw a silver lining on the clouds, or ooh, the rainbow today was just gorgeous. So I noticed a shift in what I was seeing, and that gave me some real encouragement. And that made me want to think some more. And I got thinking, well, what about the music I listen to? I know way back, 5 years or so ago, right after my son died, I didn't want to hear any music at all. I just couldn't tolerate music. And then I began listening to some music about a year later, but it was sad and just that real low, droning type of, broken-hearted music that really wasn't encouraging to me. And I paid attention to what I listen to now, and every day I listen to music, and it's rather upbeat and it has messages of hope. And I love praise and worship music a lot. And I also like to listen to theme music from movies that's upbeat and happy. And I thought, okay, well, that's good. That's encouraging that, I've changed my music also. And then I thought about something that a friend said to me back when my son first died. My friend said, you're going to trip over your feet if you keep looking at your feet like that. When you walk, I notice that your face is always down. You're always looking down. Don't you ever stand up straight? And that made me stop and think, why am I looking down all the time? Well, of course, I was feeling that internally. My grief was that heavy. I've noticed now that I love to look up. I love to look all around. My eyes are always at eye level or above, which is a good thing. I now watch the sky. I love to watch the clouds. I love to watch the sunrise. I love to see the stars in the evening sky. I notice the birds and the trees and the leaves. And whereas before, I wasn't noticing that because my outward appearance was reflecting what was happening inside. I was hurting so badly that I couldn't see those things that were in front of me or above me. That's my grief checkup. I now I do that quite regularly to see where I am in my grief walk, especially when I need some encouragement. I would encourage you to do the same thing. Pay attention to where you are in your grief walk right now as opposed to where you were when you first started your grief journey. Are you seeing things more clearly? Are you seeing brighter days? Are you noticing the sun shining more often than the rain that's happening? Do you notice the blooming flowers more often than the dying shrubbery? Do you, notice laughter in the background of a conversation? Can you play music that is hopeful and happy? These are little litmus tests for our grief. And as long as you're making a little bit of progress, that means hope is seeping back into your heart. And that's a good thing. That's what we need, isn't it? That's what we need to keep us going on this journey. Do your grief checkup. Let me know how you're doing. Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think about your grief journey. Have you made any forward steps? Is hope finding you again? I hope so. For today, I'm going to close off by saying my thoughts are with you. I hope that you'll do this little grief checkup and let me know about it. And I'll be back again tomorrow to check in on you with another moment with Clara.